Hi, welcome to the Coffee Chat Show here on Buzzing Pattaya, the show where we talk about things that are happening right here, right now, as well as general news, tips, information and advice. And welcome back to part 2. Joining me is Billy. Billy, how you doing, my man?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
We haven't gone very far, have we?
No, nice to see you.
See,
again,
if I was your ex-wife, you'd have given me 7,000 miles difference, wouldn't you?
And a few thousand quid as well.
Now, in part 1, if you didn't see part 1, take a look. There is a link in the description below, and Billy kindly shared his life experiences from when he was a lad, avoiding going down the mine shaft, managed to get himself over to Singapore into water skiing and all those kind of things. And then, of course, he's now here. And if you didn't know why Billy's here, it was because he decided it was time to wrap it up and call it a day with his relationship back home, and his wife wanted some space, and you gave her 10 years and 7,000 miles worth of space.
And a few thousand quid.
And a few thousand quid. Now, you're here now.
Yes.
So what have you been doing? What happened next? What was the next step of your life from a fishing guru legend as well?
I did what most single blokes do when you first come out to
Pass out.
Well, yeah, pretty much so.
Yeah.
It's, you remember some of the experiences, some of them you think, oh my God, did I really do that? And I used to drink in this little Susie bar.
Yeah.
And on the second day, I'd mentioned I went to TQ's, but
Yeah.
I was having a drink and I lifted the bottle up, and the 2 or 3 guys I'd become friends with, and I went cheers. And the guy said, you're in Thailand now, Bill. We don't say cheers, we say chagwell. Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but anyway.
Go on. I know what you're saying. Go on.
But anyway, I thought it meant cheers. So for the next couple of weeks,
Oh my Lord.
I'm walking around bar to bar, and everyone I meet, I'm going chagwell, which means basically wanker.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it, get my head knocked off. I spent 2 weeks calling everybody in Thailand a wanker, but it's only at the end of the holiday that they actually told me what it was. But it's too late, you couldn't take it back. I'd made about 200 enemies by then. So anyway, when I came back out again, I was a bit careful what I said. And I bumped into this little girl one day, a go-go dancer. 29-year-old, looked about 15. And we got quite friendly. She moved in with me for a few months, and she was up in Udantani, so a couple of times we flew out there, went to see her family up in Jungle, lad. Gum, what a place that was.
Bar Gum's back again, isn't he?
Bloody mosquitoes bigger than budgies up there, I tell you. Everything that wants to eat you or bite you or sting you, you know.
If you got one of those mosquitoes and put it on your hook, imagine the fish you could have caught with them.
Was it that big? Fisherman's scale.
Fisherman's scale.
And I got introduced to the Nissan diet, which consisted of insects, bugs, snakes and rats. But I never actually ate any of it, you know.
Right.
And what I didn't know is she told the family we were engaged.
Oh wow.
And she took me out in a wedding ring and she was flashing it round, and it was only brass and imitation gold, and they arranged this meal in my honour. And I didn't know anything about it, I didn't speak a word of Thai, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, we had this massive, great party. All the relatives, all the village were there for our engagement. And I didn't know anything about it.
Fantastic. So she married you off before you even knew?
Pretty much so. And I can remember sitting there of this jungle village, and they started cooking. They got a whacking great wok there. They got all the oil poured in it.
Yeah.
And it was hot and flaming. Then they got this nice big container, tipped it, and it was full of bloody frogs. Well, these frogs didn't like this hot oil.
Well, I bet they didn't.
So there's now 50 frogs jumped out, and they run in all around the garden. And you can imagine this all these little Thai guys and Thai women running around collecting the frogs, trying to throw them back in the wok again. And then there's this funny smell. I didn't know what it was.
I think if I deep fried you, you'd have a funny smell.
Well, quite possibly. They got the barbecue going at the side. So I took a little trip over, and the barbecue was full of rats. So my engagement dish was frogs, rats, and various flying, crawling creatures. And I was a guest of honour, they put the whole bloody line in a great big plate in front of me. And they all anticipated me eating it. And I thought, no way am I going near
Come
this.
on, you're from
crap.
up to north, lad.
You know,
Really?
faggots and chips, baby. Not rats and bloody frogs.
Faggots and chips, come on.
Anyway, they all got the dishes there. And
Yeah.
I was pretty lucky that the family dog was down, sitting next to me. You know?
So he got a good feed, did he?
So I kept dropping everything down, and they looked at the plate and saw I'd finished it.
Yeah.
So they topped it up again.
No.
So I had to feed the dog another plate. Oh,
Oh,
God.
I bet that dog was your best friend forever, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's a pretty good
Must have
lad.
sat there and thought, flipping hell, I'll have some of this.
But I thought, no, this and that, it's definitely not for me, you know? And the poor girl, lovely little lass, beautiful little go-go dancer.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
was 29, but she was an alcoholic.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She was only very tiny, very petite. But when she got drunk, which is most of the time, she got quite violent, you know. I'd heard
Yeah.
all the tales about being stabbed and everything. She
Yeah.
stuck the head on me. In the end, I had to dump it. And on that day, it was Songkran. I only remember it well. I drowned in my sorrows, and I walked along to Benelux Bar
Okay,
near the market.
Yeah, near the market in Bacau, yeah.
And this vision of beauty grabbed hold of me. Can't blame her. And she had these most beautiful blue eyes, a tiger with blue eyes.
Thank God you said eyes. I was panicking then.
I'd never seen anything like it. I fell instantly in love. And I had to take her, I bought her out the bar, 5 days on the trot, mesmerised by these gorgeous blue eyes, and took her out for meals and everything.
Yeah.
And eventually I got her back to my apartment, and we were going to have a shower, and she took out a pair of blue contact lenses. I fell in love with 2 bits of plastic, and it was too late, you know. Anyway, that was that brief affair lasted 10 years.
Yeah.
So in that time,
10 years, wow.
yes, it didn't end terribly well, but yeah, I suppose it was good while it lasted in many ways. She had an ambition to own her own bar. She's a clever girl, got a university degree,
Yeah.
and she'd been a teacher, but she'd been reduced to working in the bar because her husband had been a typical jungle timer and knocked her around a little bit, and
Yeah.
the usual tale.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times. So we bought a bar somewhere on Cybercar. I knew it wouldn't work. There's no way it was going to work, but she was quite adamant. And it cost peanuts anyway. And after a couple of months, I realised I'm flogging a dead horse there. So I bought Dragon Bar on
Yeah.
Cybercar, which is now opposite Tree Town.
That's right. Well, that's the bar you're most well known for at the moment, isn't it?
Well, we built it up from there, and
Yeah.
during that period, we rented a bar down here, S1.
Yeah.
Soy Chai Poon wasn't so popular then, so it wasn't a money-making machine. And we bought a little bar also down, made in Thailand. And I bought the one next door, knocked the wall out, and made it one big, beautiful bar. And
Yeah.
it was going really well, so that was Dragon 2. So we got the 2 bars. And then, of course, COVID struck. So for 18 months, we had to pay rent, reduced rent, and then one day we got notice. We got 5 days to get out before the bulldozers came in.
Do you know what? When that happened, I have to say that was incredible, because I remember the rumour mill was going around saying soy made in Thailand, that they're evicting everyone. We were like, what?
Yeah.
And then suddenly, like you said, literally they bulldozed it.
5 days, I think there's about 70 bars, so we weren't on our own. And
There's them rats again you were going to buy.
pretty much. And then about the same time, a relationship broke down with the girl, and she got Dragon Bar. So I lost 3 bars in the space of about 20 minutes.
Bloody hell.
So I walked away from it with a pair of ladies' carpet slippers and my fishing tackle.
But you went and had a beer, didn't you, after that day?
I couldn't afford a beer. So I was now left with the money that I had in the Visa account. You know how you have to keep in
Yeah,
hand?
yeah.
So I took the plunge, drew that out, and bought Jenny's Bar.
Yeah.
I met forgot to mention, I met my new girl
Yeah.
around about the same time.
Yeah.
And she virtually runs the bar. And basically, this is where I am now. We opened up at Christmas and it's doing quite well, but I'm using a different philosophy with this bar. You see, opposite me here now, I'm sorry, Chapin, you have some wonderful bars.
Yeah.
Blue Bar, Orange Bar's just been done up. Blue Bar, Annie's Bar, Inferno, Stumble. You got all the nightclubs. So you've got a plethora of females.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a bottleneck to go take some teeth everywhere you look. And I thought I'm going to try different markets. And I thought instead of all these tits and teeth, I'll employ a few old backlaxes. And
That's my way of describing your style.
so I tried to make it sort of, should I say, almost family friendly. If you go take your missus out, she wouldn't really be very happy over there with 15 young sets of tits and teeth molesting you in front of her.
Yeah.
So in here, she won't mind if some old battleaxe comes up and you buy her a drink, you see.
Okay.
I suppose it was, I wrote the book about Dragon Bar, Tits and Teeth. If I were to write one from here, it would be something like, I don't know, stretch marks and dentures or something like that,
Well, let's talk about your books because you are an established author. I mean, I showed it in part one, and these are just a selection. So you can see here, look, there's a lot of books here, and we're going to talk about a couple in particular, but you got like The Final Solution, Beyond 1984, A Bride for Allah, The Liga Syndrome, The Smiling Pill, that's an interesting name, The Smiling Pill, The Wrong Package, we got the Lost Scriptures, and In the Name of the Prophet. Now these are just some of your books. So what was the first book you ever wrote?
I think pretty much The Lost Scriptures, and O'Malley.
Okay.
This is very much rather anti-Islamic.
Okay.
If I went back to England, I'd probably be shot before I got out of the airport.
Okay. I mean, when you write a book, I mean, from people like outside watching in and looking at it, myself included, I mean, what's the process in writing a book? How do you go from like what's in your mind to putting it into like a book like so? I mean, how do you do that?
I do it one chapter at a time. I've absolutely no idea where the book is going.
Oh, okay. So you don't actually structure it and plan it out?
No, most people do. I don't. And it sort of evolves as I'm typing. The slowest process is the typing because I can't type.
Right.
I've become reasonably proficient with 2 fingers, but that's about it,
Well, this book I do want to talk about. So if you see this book here, guys, have a look at that. Is that one of your staff?
That's the missus.
Oh, you can't be saying that.
The ex-missus, in case she's watching.
You can't be saying that, eh? But, I mean, what's the fishing and testicles all about without obviously stating the obvious?
Again, it's semi-autobiographical. It's a series of tales of the things that have happened to me throughout my life in fishing. They all pretty much humorous. There's nothing serious about them at all. The other novels are actually serious novels.
What's that about? Chapter 12, I've just been flicking through, right? It's completely predetermined, premeditated. Chapter 25, Baldy Men. Do you know how much grief I get about my hair?
Well, Baldy Man, I was fishing a place called Nether Hayford one day. And,
that's in Warminster? In Wiltshire, sorry, near Amesbury.
Nope, it's in Northamptonshire.
Netherhaven?
Nether Hayford.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon, sorry. Yeah, go on.
Well, this boat came by and a little kid on the boat said, "Grandad, slow down, there's a fisherman." He said, "Sod the fisherman," and he revved up. And I gave him a mouthful of abuse, and he reversed it, and he kept revving up again, and I was plying him with pouchfuls of maggots. And he was laughing, and he was spoiled the day's fishing, and he set off, and I decided I wanted to kill him. So I packed up all my tackle, threw it in the car and went up to Nether Hayford Bridge. And as I parked up now, still fuming, this young girl comes by on this beautiful big horse, and it lifts its tail up and as it dumped right by a car. And I suddenly got this idea. So I got my fishing ball, groundbait ball, and I got a stick. I scooped up all this horse manure and bits of dog shit that was around, and got some water, made a nice mix, tipped in a load of maggots, and waiting on the bridge for the boat to come by.
Oh no.
And just as he got by the bridge, I shouted, hello, remember me? And he looked up with his mouth on, and I tipped the whole lot on top of him. Yeah. There's a bit more to the story, you know, yeah.
So the moral of the story is don't upset a guy that's fishing.
Pretty much, yeah, but as the boat went the other side of the bridge, I got a big bag of ground bait, which was, breadcrumbs. And it's now covered from head to toe in liquid shade. And I tipped it on top of him, and he looked like a home pride flower grader, mate.
Oh, man. So your book here, Fishing in Tesco's, obviously, I mean, you say it's a bit of an autobiography kind of way, and it's contained. I mean, what made you start writing? I mean, you know, you're here in what is like the capital of the entertainment world, and you're sitting there scribing out a book. I mean, what was the logic behind that? Why did you do it?
Well, you've got 24 hours a day to fill. And you work in the bar, say, from 7 or 8 o'clock through to whenever, sometimes till the sun comes up, but not at the moment. But you have a long spell during the daytime, and I packed in golf, and I got attacked by a swarm of those giant African hornets.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I got stung about 30 times on my head, all over my body, right the nether regions, and I passed out on the course. And I decided this golf game wasn't for me, you know.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah. So I got a lot of spare time. So I moved on, started writing, and Fishing and Testicles was pretty much a lot of stories I did on my Facebook postings.
Okay, right, yeah.
So I amalgamated some of the funny ones, some of the funny stories.
Yeah.
And then from there onwards, I decided to do a book about my life here.
Yeah.
Which then became Tits and Teeth in Thailand.
Okay.
And there was a series of all the funny things that happened to me. Tales from the girls, tales from other bar owners, tales from customers.
Yeah.
I pulled them all together. Now, I'll give you an example.
Keep it clean.
It's always clean, you know that. You know Jimmy at Jimmy and Adam from Honey Corner Bar.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Well, Jimmy Mike Jimbo told me this story this one day. He's picked this lovely girl up, drunk as a rat. He's gone back to her place and stripped off. And while she's gone in the shower, he's lying on bed, and he's either passed out in a coma or he's gone to sleep.
Drunken sleep.
Anyway, the next morning he's woke up and his eyes are still closed, and he's there's a bit of activity round about his nether regions.
Yeah.
And he's thinking, by gum, pick the right girl here, you know? And this carried on for a few minutes. He's still got his eyes closed in seventh heaven. Then all of a sudden he hears a voice.
Hello.
And the voice says, I've made you a cup of tea, Jimmy. And his wee Scottish brain suddenly thinks, hang on, I reckon I should be stood by the bed with a cup of tea and be down on the bed messing around with my wee Scottish manhood, so to speak. So he sat up and opened his eyes, and there was the girl's pet Labrador puppy sat between his legs with a tongue like a giraffe. And he couldn't make a story like that up.
You couldn't make that up,
And the are true stories. You only have to go to Jimmy and ask him about it. So you embellished a little bit, of course, and paid the girl, and on his way out he popped his head round the door and said, how much you want for the dog? But that's the bit I added, not Jimmy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got Adam there. You know, had a big bad. He had quite a bit of a problem with his the girl he brought up with him from Pattaya. A lovely girl, but when she had a drink or two, she's a bit wild, and that's to say the least. And she got wind of him, possibly, allegedly, messing around with some other girls, you know. So she took a glass ashtray and decided to split his head into two pieces. But he went up to hospital, covered in blood, and he sewed his head back together. And a few days, well, a couple of weeks later, again, she'd heard that he was allegedly messing around again. But this time she was a little bit more cool. And he went to bed and suddenly woke up from like a nightmare in pain. And she got all of his wee Guernsey manhood in one hand, she got a carving knife in the other, and she was cutting it off.
Oh my good lord.
Yeah. And the tilts like that. He was back up the hospital again, and
I should imagine he was.
He had 9 stitches in.
9?
I have to say, one for every half inch. I don't back, I couldn't resist that, you know.
9 stitches.
Oh yeah.
God.
If he hadn't to walk on when he did, he would have been the next Mr. Bobbitt.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's like people don't actually genuinely think that these things happen, and they do.
Oh gosh,
You know,
you only
really,
have to go
really
there.
do. Yeah, they do happen. I mean, never ever, think that when you hear these kind of stories that they're not actually real, because a Thai lady that's got a bit of a bee in her bonnet is not a Thai lady to be messed with.
Well, apparently Bangkok's got the highest rate of reattachment of any city in the world. Oh gosh, yeah.
My lord.
Thai ladies get very peevish over things like that. You know.
So
you remember Mr. Bobbitt?
I do indeed. Yeah, she tossed out the car window, didn't she?
Yeah, but did you also know when they were going down the freeway, when she tossed it out, Paddy and Murphy were coming in the opposite direction. And of course, it's gone splat on the windscreen. Paddy says, "Murph, did you see that?" I said, "What was that?" He said, "Did you see the size of the prick on that mosquito I just did?" Sorry, am I allowed to say that?
I think you should stick to your books.
I think I should do, yeah.
I mean, we're nearing the end now, but what I do want to ask you before we wrap up, it's been brilliant talking to you, it's been fantastic. And, guys, listen, come down and speak to Billy, because he is a world of knowledge. He's got so many experiences he can share with you. In terms of, coming out here and coming to Pattaya and around Thailand, I mean, what would be your go-to place? If I said to you, you can go to one place now in Thailand, not necessarily here, but you can go to one place now and chill out or relax or do something, where would that be and why would you go? What would be on your to-do list and say, I've got to go there?
Well, I've travelled around. Udon Thani was nice.
Yeah.
Chiang Mai was nice. I've been up in the Golden Triangle.
Okay, nice.
Looked across the Mekong at Laos and Burma. But there's nothing in the world like Pattaya. Honestly, there is nothing. If you want to drive around and look at temples and see Buddhas, you've seen one, you've seen most of them really. They all pretty much of a much the same, but some of the architecture is nice, but I prefer Mother Nature's architecture,
Yeah, well, talking about Mother Nature's architecture, how's your Ladyboy radar? I got it now, look, eh?
I had a terrible experience when I was in the army.
Oh no.
In Singapore, I'd only been out 3 days.
Friendly.
And the lads took me out to Jungle Welfare Wing up in Malaysia, and they took me to a place called the Hawaiian Bar. And I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about Ladyboys or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm from Lancashire.
Bargum. Bargum.
Yeah, but you see, there are no puffs in Lancashire.
Puffs? You can't call them a puff.
Well, what are they?
Oh.
I mean, it's a southern thing.
I'm sorry about this. Right, go on. So anyway, you're over there. Go on.
Yeah, but it's a southern thing. Puffery doesn't happen in Lancashire. It's London.
Is that because you're a real man up north?
That's where they invented it down in London.
Right.
It's nothing to do with Lancashire. Anyway,
all right.
I knew nothing about puffery or anything like that. And I was in this bar, and they got a series of lights on the walls with 12 numbers, and the lads I was with, 3 lads, shouted out number 6, and this beautiful Malaysian girl came out, number 6, and disappeared somewhere under the table. And like the other 3 lads had all called the number, and they said, "Oh, you want number 13?" I said, "Okay, number 13. And out comes this film star. And her name was Norma. I'll never forget, Norma.
Norma or Norman?
Norma, but in actual fact, it was bloody Norma, and that's the trouble. And it wasn't grabbing the wrong parts at the wrong time that upset me. It was the fact that she'd been tickling my epiglottis with a tongue for 2 hours, and I'd spent 2 hours kissing a man. So I've always had this terrible aversion to ladyboys,
So if I want to snog you, you're going to turn me down?
What kind of money we're talking?
Not that much. Not that much.
You kind of get used to a different life, If I don't know, if Darwin had visited Pattaya instead of the Galapagos, his book, The Origins of Species, would have taken a whole different slant,
It's the one thing people often ask me though is, how'd you tell? And I'm like, guys, you'll find out one way or another, don't worry.
Well, you watch Crocodile Dundee too,
brilliant.
don't you?
Yeah, brilliant. Have a quick grab. My friend, listen, it's been fantastic. Before we finish off, I do want to ask one serious question though, is you do have a lot of books which you are the author of. If people want to get hold of you to look at the books and to purchase them, where can they get them from?
You get them all from Amazon.
Amazon, okay.
Yes, you go on my name, Amazon Books, and go on to my name.
Okay.
The only problem when you're living in Thailand is the postage cost as much as the actual books themselves, you know. So I am thinking of setting up a sort of a library here.
Okay, cool.
Once I've got enough money, I've got to earn some money first. I've got to open up the airport. Otherwise, none of us are going to earn any money.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Well, listen, guys, if you do want to come in, you know, this is one of the books. He's got 11 books. They are really good. Come and have a chat with Billy, and I'm sure he'll expand on the last Puffs story that we've just been speaking about. I'll let you expand on it over a beer with a friend away from this camera.
Yeah, but we don't do puffery in Lancashire. We don't. It's a southern thing.
You're safe. You're right. Don't worry. You're safe.
Okay. All right.
All right, listen, my friend, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. Guys, if you didn't see part 1, have a look at part 1. There is a link in the description below. We're down here in Soi Chaipoon Soi Pothole, and you can probably maybe hear the drilling going on in the back. There's loads of activity going on here, and it really is like an up-and-coming area. Come and say hello to Billy. You know, he's here in Jenny's Bar. Come and say hello, have a beer, and enjoy the company of this very, very funny and very knowledgeable man here in Pattaya. All right, that's it from us. Thank you very much for watching. Please, as always, guys, remember, hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon if you'd like to be notified when I bring out a new video. Check out Discord. I'm going to get Billy on Discord. He can share some of his books and stories. Have a look on Discord. It's completely free. There's lots of photos, videos, information, all about the soys, the bars, the whole lot. Have a look on there. There's over 11,300 members, so check that out. And if you'd like to support the channel, there is a link in the description below, and your support is much appreciated. All right, guys, that's it for me. That's it from Billy. Thank you very much for watching. And please, as always, wherever you are in the world, stay safe.